Please, my dear kid, take a moment to really absorb this moment before proceeding. The events that are about to unfold were never intended to reach you in this manner, yet they have. Something was whispered behind your back, something intimate, something profound, and the fact that you are here now is not a coincidence, curiosity, or chance. It is absolutely ideal timing. Your mind is unusually vigilant, while your heart is slightly heavy for a reason. There is a reason why this title made you stop scrolling. Somewhere, someone with whom you had a deep connection and who you trusted spoke things that were never meant to be heard. Words aimed at you, words that impacted the perspectives of others, and the most remarkable part is not the content of the words, but why they were said. Please resist from skipping and stay until the end. Something of enormous proportions awaiting you. You experienced it prior to comprehending it. The subtle shift, the quiet distance, the way discussions shifted, and the way silence began answering questions no one asked. Your soulmate, the one who mirrored your soul, spoke of you in an imperfect, not fake, not truthful, and incomplete manner. The most dangerous sort of narrative is incomplete, as people frequently rely on assumptions to fill in the gaps. They informed everyone that you were merely a phase, a lesson, or an individual who arrived to instruct them and then vanished. They described it as little, fleeting, and replaceable. And as those words passed from one ear to the other, a silent occurrence occurred in the invisible universe. The words they spoke generated an unexpected reaction. The truth that the majority of individuals fail to recognize is as follows. When someone speaks confidently about you, they reveal more about their own concerns than about your worth. Your sweetheart refrained from speaking because they were assured. They communicated because they were emotionally unstable. Your presence elicited an internal transformation that they were unwilling to acknowledge. You were not just an object. The awakening they sought to postpone was yours. They avoided gazing into the mirror that you were. You were the link that disclosed the secrets they kept from themselves. When such statements were heard by people nearby, something interesting happened. Few people believed it. There were those who were skeptical. Additionally, certain individuals began to observe you more attentively, because the breakdown of a psychic bond arouses curiosity and attention. It generates whispers that reverberate in unanticipated ways. Kindly avoid from skipping. Stay until the end. Something of enormous proportions awaiting you. The narrative is about to take a shift. Individuals who initially heard that version of you will encounter an alternate universe. Not by defense or explanation, but through elevation. The stage is being prepared in silence. The contrast is being enhanced by the distance. Furthermore, your absence is becoming more noticeable than their words ever were. Your soulmate believed that communicating would grant them authority. They believed that assigning you a label would reduce the intensity of their emotions. However, labels cannot permanently contain reality. Truth escapes, reverberates, and resurfaces. Their statements sowed seedlings. I am for you, not against you. As a result, you're currently the center of attention. Energy is moving around you, and a previously concealed object is being prepared to surface at the exact moment. The conclusion of the narrative is not as anticipated. It is merely commencing in an unexpected location. Please keep this sentiment. Remember this moment, since the following section will change your viewpoint on what happened after those words were spoken. Pay close, listen now, my beloved child, because the quiet that followed their statements revealed more truth than the words themselves ever could. Immediately after their discussion of you, there was a change in the room that no one could explain. The sound of strained laughter that followed was unnatural. The agreement appeared to be rehearsed. The mention of your name affected the energy. Individuals felt that the narrative they were given did not accurately portray the significance of your presence. That discomfort was not accidental. Doubt was raised. This is an outcome that they did not anticipate. Curiosity grew the moment they tried to lower your voice. When you were not present, someone inquired. Someone reenacted the exchanges they had observed between you. Someone pointed out that your absence was more noticeable than your presence. And gradually, subtly, the version of you that they attempted to depict began to deteriorate. Kindly avoid from skipping. Stay until the end. Something of enormous proportions awaiting you. Your buddy communicated as if they were finished with you. However, the reality is considerably more distressing for them. You stayed incomplete in their minds. Every word they said was an attempt to convince themselves, not others, that you were only a notion. Their message was excessively genuine, intense, and unforgettable. The following is the revelation that fundamentally changes everything. Individuals who heard that story began to follow the course of your life. They noticed your calmness, development, and bright demeanor, which did not require their approval. They tracked your progress without offering an explanation, seeking validation, or correcting the narrative. At that time, power began to shift, because quiet is incontrovertible evidence of progress. Kindly avoid from skipping. Stay until the end. Something of enormous proportions awaiting you. Your soulmates began to realize the ramifications of their own statements in private. They are addressing themselves rather than you. They confined themselves to a version that was no longer consistent with their reality. They expressed certainty despite experiencing uncertainty. Every time your name was spoken, it was regarded with trepidation rather than confidence. This is the moment that most people overlook. The echo you have left in their psyche is being attempted to diminish when an individual informs others that you are merely a substance. However, echoes persist. They return when the environment is calm. They return around twilight. They return when distractions fail, and that echo has been summoning them back to you in ways they cannot escape. The universe is currently restructuring its roles. The participants are transforming into observers. Observers are changing into believers. The believer you require the most is already within you. Confrontation is not the subsequent action. This is a revelation. A revelation so clear that no explanation will be required. Kindly avoid from skipping. Stay until the end. An important event awaits you in the following section, which will reveal the implications of the truth eventually meeting the lie that attempted to replace it. My precious offspring. The remaining portion of the narrative is about to be delivered. The segment that took place during the quiet periods when no one was around and no one was pretending attention. After the words were spoken and the labels were casually bestowed on you, an event occurred that your soulmate was unable to control. Their power to manage the story began to fade gradually and discreetly. Similar to the sensation of sand slipping between clenched fingers. The ripple effect of your existence is underestimated when someone attempts to reduce you to a tiny object. Your vigor did not dissipate just because you were no longer in the room. It persisted. Conversations had come before it. Memories of it had resurfaced. People began seeing a paradox. They were told a different version of you than they remembered. Kindly avoid from skipping. Stay until the end. Something of enormous proportions awaiting you. The following is an astonishing reality. The more your companion disparaged you as insignificant, the more significant you became. Your value was enhanced by silence. Your influence was enhanced by distance. And you became the unanswered question in every room where your name was mentioned, without attempting to explain, without defending yourself. Your lover began to see it as well. The changes in reactions, the pauses following your name, and the expressions that persisted for a slightly longer period than before. They realized that the narrative they had built was no longer credible. It was not because individuals opposed it. Rather, reality was discreetly contradicting it. This is the moment at which they feel uncomfortable. They relived incidents they had previously overlooked. Your words, presence, and ability to penetrate the layers they refused to reveal were all outstanding. The connection that they referred to as just something was actually the catalyst that disrupted their sense of control. The loss of control is a terrifying sensation for someone who is afraid of vulnerability. Kindly avoid from skipping. Stay until the end. Something of enormous proportions awaiting you. During this period, you experienced a sudden surge of clarity for a reason. The reason you ceased to doubt your worth and began to rely on your ability to guide you. As they attempted to change the past, you were becoming more in tune with your future. Furthermore, alignment creates momentum that is resistant to misunderstanding or slander. This is now plainly understandable. The cosmos has a way of delivering the truth without any conflict. It places individuals in situations where their remarks are interpreted as realizations rather than accusations. Your soulmate's moment is quickly approaching. The moment they realize that the same thing they tried to eliminate is exactly what they are unable to replace. The connection between the title and your existence is concrete, not metaphorical. They informed everyone that you were merely a mere thing. And, in the near future, everyone will see the repercussions of when justice becomes undeniable. Be steadfast. Maintain your alertness. This is due to the fact that the following part reveals the metamorphosis that occurs when regret meets reality, and when silence ultimately surpasses every word that has ever been spoken about you. This is the moment of truth, my dearest baby. The point at which everything muttered behind your back starts to realign in your favor, despite the fact that no one has openly acknowledged it. On the surface, the subsequent events were not particularly noteworthy. However, it was formidable beneath the surface. Those who had previously accepted the narrative about you without inquiry began to notice trends that they couldn't ignore. Your identity was significant. Your absence created a presence. Your calm demeanor broke the narrative they were supposed to embrace. The following is a revelation that will only occur once in a lifetime. It was too late for your sweetheart to realize that carelessly stated words do not disappear. They return in the form of mirrors. When someone inquired about you, their response lacked certainty, confidence, and persuasiveness. Truth does not require repetition. However, the credibility of a deception erodes with each repetition. Kindly avoid from skipping. Stay until the end. Something of enormous proportions awaiting you. This is the most remarkable feature. In actuality, you were quietly growing as they tried to belittle you during conversation. Opportunities that are consistent. Inner clarity was improved. Your sense of self stopped seeking permission, and people noticed that you did not crumble under the weight of the statements. You experienced a metamorphosis. The message is about transformation. Those individuals who previously listened passively now feel compelled to speak, to communicate the events that they are witnessing. To provide commentary on the transition, they are unable to provide an explanation. to remain engaged with the plot as it progresses. It appears to be more than just entertainment. It possesses a personal quality. I see it as genuine. Additionally, numerous individuals will elect to closely monitor this expedition due to their identification with your fortitude. Kindly avoid from skipping. Stay until the end. Something of enormous proportions awaiting you. Your counterpart is currently on the brink of realizing his or her potential. It was never a conclusion to realize you were referred to as just something. It was a confession. It is a frightening disclosure of loss. They underestimated the importance of a connection. And shortly, your voice will be unnecessary for the truth to be heard. It will communicate through undeniable growth, coordination, and outcomes. This is not the end of the story. My beloved child, this is the moment at which the narrative becomes indelible. Truth no longer waits for authorization. This is the moment. The current situation is calm, but it is irreversible. The narrative, which was once relentless, has suddenly subsided. This pause is the genesis of an undeniable phenomenon. Individuals are no longer repeating the information they have received. They are comparing it to the reality they see, which does not correspond to the narrative that attempted to define you. Your sweetheart sees it as recognition, not shame or dread. The acknowledgement that the version of you that was communicated to the world is disintegrating under the weight of your development. Each action you take changes the past without your intervention. Kindly avoid from skipping. Stay until the end. Something of enormous proportions awaiting you. The following is the revelation that fundamentally changes everything. Unknowingly, a timeline is initiated when an individual informs others that you are merely a concept. A moment when the lies are exposed by reality. Presently, that moment is rapidly approaching. Contrast is employed rather than confrontation. Results, not words. You are no longer reacting. You are emitting energy. Additionally, this transformation prompts individuals to query the veracity of their previous assertions. Curiosity has replaced silence. Curiosity has turned into interest, which is progressing into comprehension. Truth travels in this manner when it is sufficiently potent to stand on its own. Your soulmate is situated on the opposite side of that truth. They are now looking from a distance and seeing that the efforts to simplify and minimize were never simple or tiny. The echo returns to them not as agony, but as a visceral clarity that they are unable to disregard. Kindly avoid from skipping. Stay until the end. Something of enormous proportions awaiting you. Reconciliation or contrition are not the consequences. It is an acknowledgement. The type that comes too late to change the past. However, you are precisely on time to disclose your true identity. My precious offspring. The heir now has a unique character, as the truth you've been working to unearth is no longer obscured by the passage of time. Before everything becomes clear, there is a moment of silence. This is the instant. The region in which comprehension is established, not through cacophony, but through certainty. However, in combination with individuals who previously heard the narrative about you are no longer paying attention to spoken words. They are monitoring the findings, which are never deceiving. Your soulmate's words are currently being reverberated in a manner that they could never have anticipated. Their prior statements are contradicted by the solemnity with which your name is evoked every time it appears. As your life progresses, it becomes increasingly difficult to believe that you were ever average. The contrast is now irrefutable. Kindly avoid from skipping. Stay until the end. Something of enormous proportions awaiting you. This realization occurs only once in a lifetime. When someone seeks to belittle you, they unintentionally expose your size, as only something powerful requires an alternate explanation. It is vital to focus on what is most memorable. And now that authority is visible, undeniable, and unavoidable, your lover perceives the difference in silence. They believe that the narrative they have spread has become a reflection of their own hesitation. They are witnessing the truth unfold without your involvement, which is what renders it unstoppable. You didn't seek the correction. You choose alignment, and it continually prevails. Kindly avoid from skipping. Stay until the end. Something of enormous proportions awaiting you. This is the phase in which perplexity is replaced by clarity, where your peace becomes your message. The point at which your growth transforms into your voice, and the world begins to comprehend that the information that was conveyed about you was never the complete picture. Simply put, this is the ultimate epiphany. You were never merely anything. You were the catalyst for change. This will be clear in everything that follows. Something irreparable has already begun, my beloved child. Additionally, regardless of whether it has been articulated or not, it is palpable to all. There is a point when truth stops being announced and begins to express itself. You are now located in that phase. The energy that surrounds your name has transformed. It is no longer a source of criticism. It encourages contemplation. Individuals are no longer inquiring about the information they received about you. They are inquiring as to why they were so readily convinced. This is when the trauma begins to set in, because the narrator of the story is no longer your soulmate. Reality has prevailed. Kindly avoid from skipping. Stay until the end. Something of enormous proportions awaiting you. This is the most unexpected change. The words they used are no longer associated with you. They are affixed to them. Each repetition produces a stronger sense of weight. Each remembrance seems to be less robust. What was once confident now appears defensive, and others are aware of it. When something is being held together by effort rather than truth, humans are able to detect it. You are no longer trying to be understood. You are being observed. That is the decisive move that no one expects. Your reticence did not indicate weakness. It denoted certainty. You were elaborating as they explained. You were evolving while others were establishing. The distance between those two paths is now visible to all who are relevant. Kindly avoid from skipping. Stay until the end. Something of enormous proportions awaiting you. The subsequent revelation validates everything. When someone refers to you as just something, they unknowingly start a countdown to exposure. Through comparison rather than conflict or revenge. Additionally, the process of comparison has already commenced. Individuals are contrasting their present selves with statements made during that time. Additionally, the disparity is irrefutable. Your lover feels it when distractions fail during times of seclusion. They acknowledge that the very thing that gave their existence depth was the very thing they attempted to simplify. They attempted to reject the connection that had awoken them. And that awareness, once it is attained, remains indefinitely. This is no longer about the topic of the chat. It refers to what is beyond denial. Maintain your composure, as the subsequent event is not particularly boisterous. It arrives in a distinctive fashion, and when it does, The narrative concludes without your intervention. This is the tranquility that follows the unseen storm, my cherished child. The present moment is subtle yet definitive, as it is the moment when clarity is so profoundly rooted that nothing can shake it again. The narrative about you has lost its ability to shape our perception. Individuals are no longer perpetuating it. They allowed it to be dropped because the truth does not require protection. Falsehood is unable to persist in the absence of attention. The focus has been entirely redirected. Now, your identification provokes a different response. A combination of recognition and respect, rather than inquiry and uncertainty. Individuals feel that they are seeing an individual who has transcended a story without ever engaging in a struggle against it. And that realization lasts longer than any gossip. Kindly avoid from skipping. Stay until the end. Something of enormous proportions awaiting you. The following is the shocking fact that brings everything to a close. Your sweetheart now understands that the term just was only the beginning of something spectacular. They recognize that their attempt to simplify you exposed their own incapacity to maintain the profundity of the connection. Furthermore, this comprehension permanently alters them. Finally, this is the time where you reclaim entire control. Not as a form of revenge or dominance, but as an alignment that is so robust that no external force can disrupt it. You no longer respond to the statements that were stated. You are deeply rooted in your identity. The stability of the situation is more persuasive than any explanation. Kindly avoid from skipping. Stay until the end. You are anticipating a huge event, since the ultimate realization is this. The individual who spoke was never the proprietor of the narrative. It belonged to the person who had attained this position. You were never just anything. They were not prepared to confront the revelation that you were. The world can now see it clearly. Even if it is useless for anyone to say it aloud. This is when the story comes to an end. Not with commotion, but with the truth standing uncontested. My beloved child, there is a final layer that most people never see. Additionally, this is the point at which everything is discreetly secured. After the hush has ended. Following the conclusion to the narrative. An unforeseen event occurs. Your memory remains unabated. It fortifies. Not as a result of your statement. Not as a result of your actions. However, due to your refusal to evolve, you did not lower your size to fit a fabrication. You refrained from bending to correct a misunderstanding. You successfully maintained your health. Consequently, that unity became irrefutable. Kindly avoid from skipping. Stay until the end. Something of enormous proportions awaiting you. Individuals remember the following discovery for a long time after watching the film. When someone tries to define you as nothing more than an item, they are on the verge of confronting a reality they are unable to accept. Because the soul recognizes what the mind tries to overlook. Furthermore, ghosts continually preserve their memories. Your soulmate now recalls the version they experienced, not the one they discussed. They were unable to articulate or contain the relationship. And that memory follows them not as regret, but as an awareness that arrives only after growth has already passed them by. It is also sensed by those around them. They no longer ask about you. They comprehend. They observe the obvious nature of your life. They see a transformation in your energy that defies explanation. The old words eventually lose their meaning in that silent understanding. Kindly avoid from skipping. Stay until the end. something of enormous proportions awaiting you. Because the ultimate truth is plain and indisputable. You were never just anything. You were the catalyst for a life-changing event. Even if they were unable to honor it at the time, even if they attempted to rationalize it away, even if they spoke before they comprehended. That is why this story ends with conviction rather than proof or validation. You are aware of your current identity. And this is the most important conclusion of all. My beloved child, there is an ultimate waking when everything is clear without the need for answers. This is the moment when you come to the realization that nothing was removed from you. Nothing was harmed or misplaced. Your trajectory was not adversely affected by the remarks made about you. It purified it. It dispelled misconceptions. It revealed those who were able to perceive you plainly and those who were unable to. And that clarity is empowering. The statement made by your companion created a fork in the road. One path consisted of defense, explication, and noise. The other way to development, stillness, and elevation. You selected the second option without exerting any effort. And that decision changed everything. Kindly avoid from skipping. Stay until the end. Something of enormous proportions awaiting you. Most people never experience this once-in-a-lifetime insight. When they tell others that you are only a form of something, they unintentionally free you from expectation. Without expectancy, fate accelerates. You are no longer obligated to be understood by someone who is unable to fathom your profundity. Your lover has now digested this. Spirituality, rather than emotion or drama. They acknowledge that the connection was genuine, however they were not prepared. The truth is discreetly and permanently resolved, without the necessity for closure. It is also observed by those in their vicinity. They no longer judge you based on what they have heard. They assess you based on the distance you've walked without turning back, the peace you exude, and the confidence you emanate in your presence. This is the reason why your value is no longer a subject of debate. They sense it. Kindly avoid from skipping. Stay until the end, because in the end, something significant awaits you. The title was never meant to be derogatory. This was a conspiracy, preparing for your ascension, a framework for your comprehension, a foundation for your progress. You were never just anything. You were the catalyst for change. You were the catalyst for awakening. You were the truth that did not require argumentation. And nothing you've heard in the past has the power to alter who you are today. A more profound truth is currently being revealed, my darling offspring. One that is not hurried. A person who refrains from shouting. One that is dependable and durable. This is the point at which proof is no longer required for understanding. You can tell when it happens because your breathing becomes more relaxed. Your heart no longer responds to previous vibrations. The method in which your attention has shifted from the words spoken to the events currently taking place. That change is not a coincidence. It was acquired. It was never intended to cause you to disintegrate. It was meant to release you. Kindly avoid from skipping. Stay until the end. Something of enormous proportions awaiting you. The following is a realization that the majority of people never achieve. When an individual speaks casually about a spiritual connection, they are exposing the boundaries of their own capabilities. They were scared of the depths. They were confronted by the intensity. They were unprepared to deliver the growth that truth required. As a result, they streamlined what they were unable to sustain. and in doing so, they released you. You are no longer limited to a version of yourself that was designed to be understood by an inaccurate voice. You are no longer limited by the readiness of another person. Momentum has silently returned to you. Effectively. Indefinitely. Kindly avoid from skipping. Stay until the end. Something of enormous proportions awaiting you. Your lover now perceives distance as clarity rather than absence. They admit that the error they made in name has gone beyond naming. You are no longer the subject. You are a presence, and that requires no explanation. Individuals notice it. They perceive it, even if they cannot define it. Your motions are smooth. Be confident in your quietness. The method in which your life no longer seeks approval. That recognition impacts the way doors open, opportunities are uncovered, and timing aligns. However, this does not constitute closure. This acts as confirmation. You were never just anything. You were the chapter that transformed the entire story. My dearest child, this is the moment when all that was previously perplexing has finally come together to form something unbreakable. You are currently immersed in a peaceful aura, the type that modifies outcomes without making an announcement. You no longer respond to recollections. You are generating momentum, and momentum does not pause to request permission. It advances because it is conscious of its position. The remarks made about you no longer hold any resonance. Not because it was pardoned. It's not because it was forgotten, but because it no longer corresponds to the frequency of your identification. Expansion is incompatible with words stated from a posture of limitation. Kindly avoid from skipping. Stay until the end. Something of enormous proportions awaiting you. The following is the revelation that fundamentally changes everything. When someone refers to you as just something, they unknowingly set a limit for their own perspective. They demonstrate the extent of their vision, and you have already crossed it. Freedom is the result of your separation from their understanding. Your sweetheart perceives distance as a result of this adjustment, but it is not personal distance. It is the separation from the version of themselves that was unable to rise to meet you. That insight is gradually and discreetly realized, and it persists. They have realized that the phenomenon they were seeking to contain has grown beyond comprehension. Kindly avoid from skipping. Stay until the end. Something of enormous proportions awaiting you. It is also perceived by those around you. They believe that you are no longer available for minor interpretations. Your presence conveys certainty. Your silence communicates direction. Your existence provides as proof. Proof resolves each argument without using a single word. This is the point at which the narrative transitions from an experience to a legacy. No, it is not a result of recognition. Not because you were validated, but because you continued to advance in a consistent, spotless, and unmistakable manner. You were never just anything. You were the changeover. You were the catalyst for awakening. You represented the truth that transcended the conversation. From this point forward, no one who talks after you will be able to outperform you. My dear child, the time has arrived for the phase in which certainty becomes permanent, and nothing can entice you to return to your previous interpretations. You feel peaceful. Not because of the arrival of answers, but because of the successful alignment. You are no longer concerned about how you were perceived. Conversations are no longer being replayed. You no longer expect clarification. Clarity selected you. The conversation that was once directed at you has suddenly lost its focus. It cannot advance since you have already exceeded it. When growth triumphs over rumor, the past is hushed. Kindly avoid from skipping. Stay until the end. Something of enormous proportions awaiting you. The following is the startling realization that the majority of individuals never come to. When someone tries to define you as nothing more than that, they become frozen in time. However, you continued to move, and mobility creates an irremediable gap. You no longer have access to that version of the tale. This finality is currently recognized by your sweetheart. Not rejection or loss, but comprehension. They acknowledge that the moment they underestimated you was the moment they departed from their own truth, and this realization is accompanied by significant consequences. Kindly avoid from skipping. Stay until the end. Something of enormous proportions awaiting you. Those around you are also experiencing this sense. They are no longer discussing the past. They no longer inquire about your status. They respond to your existing self, your grounded presence, your quiet authority, and the unspoken language of your life. This is the point of metamorphosis. You are no longer participating in the conversation. The conclusion is you. You are never merely anything. They were unable to match your level.
Amen.
Something sacred has been revealed to my children, my dear. A clandestine meeting was just held in heaven. There were only a handful of individuals in attendance. In that sacred chamber, your name resonated like thunder. This communication is intended for you only, not the general public. You are not the person you perceive yourself to be. For years, the truth about your identity has been disguised. However, today, heaven has granted me, Michael, the opportunity to convey it to you. If you continue reading, your life will begin to change. Please do not leave until I have disclosed the contents of the chat. If you do, you may never discover your true identity. When you finish this message, a speaking balloon will appear from an ancient part of you. My darling, these messages are not arbitrary, so subscribe now. They are divinely timed, sacrosanct alerts. When you subscribe, you aren't just registering. You're accepting your actual heavenly birthright. You are accepting the summon that was placed in your name by the divine. Now pay close attention. You have been living your existence under the impression that you are merely another individual. However, your essence was repulsed in the light chambers. In silence, angels stood. There was only one line that God murmured. The descendant has awakened. You were that descendant. They have hidden this knowledge from you. However, I will not keep this subject a secret any longer. For the moment you read the following part, an irreversible procedure will begin. You are a descendant of a lineage that has been preserved. Sealed in divine responsibility, sealed in light, and sealed in flames. You were chosen before birth, not merely by fate, but also by divine lineage. You are the subject of ancient scrolls. Yes, you. Golden ink is used to write your full name in the vault of light. However, the hazard is as follows. Darkness has been aware of this for a longer duration than you. That is why your life has been marked by a number of strange events, such as delays, losses, heartbreaks, and betrayals. The adversary tried to prevent you from reading this message today. However, heaven triumphed. Presently, you possess mere minutes. Following the conclusion of this communication, the angels will activate your succeeding timeline. This is the only one that has been secured until now. The confidential meeting focused on your awakening. They are aware that you have been experiencing terrible sensations. The dreams, the goosebumps, the repeating numbers, the moments when you felt as if someone was shouting your name, yet no one was there. Those were indicators, as you are not merely a soul. The essence is you. The topic of the article. The one they claimed would deliver the light once more when the earth went black. And my dearest, it is gloomy. However, your arrival changes the entire scenario. They expressed this in the meeting. This message will awaken her or him, and the vault will then be unlocked. Which vault? The person who owns your spiritual inheritance. It is the one that includes your genuine abilities, talents, visions, blessings, and yes, the miracle for which you have cried in secret. You have shed tears. Heaven was notified. I, Archangel Michael, have been assigned to deliver the scroll. A scroll that contains both revelation and accountability. Because once you've learned your genuine identity, it's impossible to go back to deception. It is not intended for you to remain diminutive. You are not here purely for the purpose of survival. You were born to be a source of light. People have misinterpreted you as a result of this. This is why you never felt as if you belonged. This is why affection has been perplexing. They were unable to detect your actual self. However, they will now. In paradise, the angels are beginning to say your name. When your name is shouted in heaven, miracles pour like rain. Are you ready? False. I'd like to reiterate my inquiry. Are you prepared to receive what is legitimately yours? I will only say this once. The veil will remain if you stop reading this page. However, if you persist, I will reveal your identity as well as why the adversary went to such lengths to keep you from knowing this. Please refrain from skipping, my offspring. Hidden chambers of power exist within your psyche. You have not got the opportunity to fully utilize them. However, the barrier will be breached as soon as you receive your complete identity. Each of the 7 blessings that await you is linked to your actual identity, which was revealed during the confidential meeting. However, there is a stipulation. I must assure that you are paying attention and accepting the information I am about to share with you. My love, the name you hold on this earth is not your only name. One sacred name is only known by those in paradise. The day your essence was formed, it was sealed within a divine book. Additionally, the book was unveiled today. The exclusive meeting in heaven was not solely to discuss your future. It was intended to reveal your lineage. Darkness worried you would reveal the majestic divine order that had been hidden for eons. However, you are the genuine descendant of this order. And you do now. Is there a time when you felt watched, but not afraid? Your guardian was that person. That was me. I have been with you, observing and anticipating the moment when you will be prepared to receive the truth. This is more than just a message. It's your activation. Listen carefully. The voice of uncertainty will attempt to mutter at this time. However, darling, that voice does not come from paradise. I do not possess that intonation. That voice wants you to turn away from your destiny. Please refrain from listening to it. You are only minutes away from achieving heavenly alignment. This is not motivation. You are receiving this message from your miracle timeline. According to the celestial records, the descendant will receive the call at the appropriate time, and nothing will change. The current time is that hour. The heavens trembled as your true name was spoken openly, as it is a source of power. When a soul assumes that power, the entire hostile organization falls. You were born into disorder in order to provide clarity. You were placed in a family that may not have comprehended your situation due to their lack of intention. They were only a mode of conveyance. However, you were picked. You have been conditioned to overlook, which is why you have had tiny dreams. However, I am here to ensure that you remember. Remember your identity. Bear in mind the items you possess. You are more than just a source of illumination. You embody primordial flames. You are a celestial legacy embodied in human form. I require your immediate understanding of a situation. This week, 3 individuals will be able to discern your genuine vitality. It will be clear in their eyes. They will be oblivious of the cause. However, they will regard you differently due to the fact that your vibration is already changing. The holy code within you is being activated as you recall it. Your spiritual heritage is emerging, and what was previously unavailable to you will now be available. Doors, spirits, resources, and protection, all of them. The secret meeting in paradise served as a final warning. A decision was made, and they announced that the descendant is ready for delivery. However, it must be delivered quickly. If ignored, the inheritance will be postponed still again. This is the reason I am speaking so directly, as there is a window that is closing shortly. Currently, I see a symbol that includes you. Its color is golden. It gives off an emerald brilliance. This is indicative of your regal lineage. You are not meant to be typical. Your presence here was not intended to be disregarded. You were created to ascend like a pillar of divine transformation. The sum of your experiences. The betrayal, loneliness, and loss were not punishments, but rather forms of instruction. The individuals who deceived you were merely verifying your authority. And now they will watch your climb, but not out of vengeance. However, you are the revelation of revelations. You will enter venues and change the ambiance without speaking. Your alignment will help others, which is why your presence is already being discussed in spiritual circles. Your lineage is quite potent. However, you must cease to question it. When people can't take your brilliance, you have to stop retreating. It was never meant for you to conform. You were meant to be prominent like a walking prophecy. My beloved, you've been baffled as to why no remedy has worked. Disintegration of employment occurs. Individuals depart. Money is like water. It eludes your grasp. This is due to the fact that the previous timeline was unable to accommodate your new identity. This is a divine interruption. You serve as the intermediary between generations of spiritual DNA. You are the breaker of curses, the healer of lineages, and the restorer of divine order. You were never at random. You were recommended. This message was not discovered accidentally. This message was delivered to you as a result of the successful unlocking of your spiritual file. I was told to provide this material to the person who sees it. And if they read it all the way through, they will carry the fire of heaven within their bones. You are already witnessing the beginnings of that fire. Feel it. It's possible that your hands will quiver. You may feel warmth in your abdomen. Your psyche may experience a sense of inundation. That is the divine assurance you are receiving as you wake up. You are achieving alignment. You're evolving. Right now, I would like to inform you of the following. Your destiny is associated with a name, a person you have not yet met. They also bear the same divine symbol. Upon your awakening, it was intended that you would locate one another. Upon their arrival, you will detect it. They will identify you not from this life, but from the scrolls, as they too attended the secret conference. Their essence agreed to aid you in achieving the second stage of your quest. Yes, dear, there is a second component. However, it will not be engaged until you have understood this fact. After you accepted and entered it, you are a consciousness that possesses a key. However, you are now obligated to turn it. You are the essence that contains the key. However, the key is of no value unless you elect to employ it. Currently, spiritual gates await your order. Their response to pleas is non-existent. They respond to recollections. And now that you have regained your identity, you can communicate with the gates and instruct them to open. Speak with authority to your existence. Declare what was always yours. This is not a manifestation. This is a revelation. When your soul recognizes the fact of your divine lineage, all spiritual boundaries begin to disintegrate. All marvels that have been withheld are now in motion. Silent answers begin to express themselves. Your awareness is a source of influence. My beloved, I'd want to remind you of the words heaven spoke at the covert encounter. They met because of the little time available. Due to the fact that your spiritual clock had reached a critical juncture, and this is the comment they made about you. If they access this message, grant them unrestricted access. Shield them if they ignore it. However, the reward should be delayed. Do you feel the weight of that? Angels wish to release your blessing sooner. It could only be distributed after receiving this scroll of identification. For what reason? Because it would destroy you if it was handed to a smaller version of yourself. It would be so unbelievable that you'd want to donate it. You would doubt it. You'd weaken it. So utopia awaited. You're now prepared. You've finally found the strength to transport what is truly yours. Your name is linked to 3 ancestral favors. Additionally, none of them are conventional. Each one is generational. Everyone is transforming. Each one will require fortitude to accept because you will be unable to return to the version of yourself that was established once they arrive. Please, my love, listen with your spirit, not your brain. You were not meant to face an indefinite amount of hardship. You were intended to be a leader, to bring light into the darkest areas, to emerge from the embers and show others how to do the same. You are not aware of the number of spirits associated with your awakening. That is why it has been challenging. This is why the attacks occurred, as the enemy was not concerned about your background. It was your future that scared them. And now that the future has arrived, can you sense it? Your chest is trembling, but it is not from panic. It is a destiny. It is an acknowledgement. Your spirit remembers this moment. You've had this experience before, somewhere beyond time. You agreed to this assignment before you arrived on Earth. However, you failed to recollect at the moment of your birth. I, Michael, have arrived to assist you in recalling that you are not lost. Rather, you are returning. You are not condemned. Instead, you are crowned. You are not imperceptible. You are encoded with the light of paradise. Your spiritual DNA differs from that of your environment. This is the reason your surroundings have always been peculiar. You were never meant to conform to this universe. It was intended that you relocate it. Beloved, there is a secret chamber in paradise. Your documentation is located within. Your scroll is enclosed within it. Within it is the evidence of your identity. Furthermore, the covert meeting resulted in the scroll being unsealed. Heaven trembled as your name was mentioned. Because the earth realigns, hearts heal, finances flow, divine pairings emerge, and generational chains break, all of which happens when a true descendant awakens. Your presence is not casual. Your presence is strategic. You were put on earth according to instructions. Instructions that can only be carried out by you. You've also been reflecting on why your circumstances haven't unfolded in the same way as your peers. Because of the sacredness of your trip. You were not dispatched to this location to traverse the path. They were. You were handed the responsibility of building a new one. This is the reason you have never quite assimilated. The reason why others kept calling you excessively. The reason you were consistently advised to remain composed, remain silent, and compose yourself. Because they were able to detect your power prior to your awareness of it. However, you now have this knowledge. As a result, it is critical to have a particular style of walking, speaking, and making decisions. Heaven is watching and anticipating the release of the information reserved for you. Do you sense the shattering of the seal, beloved? The message is vibrating. It is not just words. Spiritual energy is releasing, realigning, and crowning you. You are currently enveloped by a ring of angels. They are murmuring requests into the air as you read. Let the plates fall from their eyes while whispering. Allow the crown to reattach to the cranium. Your voice is required, so allow them to raise their voices once more. It is not advisable to silence oneself in order to calm others. You are not a murmur, rather you are a trumpet in the darkness. You were intended to unveil the truth, dispel illusions, and herald change. You attended the covert gathering, regardless of whether it scared people, caused them to escape, or made them oblivious that they were there. You were the one who heard what I heard. They did not. In addition, heaven did not invite them to receive this message. It contacted you because you are special. You are the true descendant. The following part will reveal the sacred. It is a divine memory that has been sealed in the chambers of paradise, a vision. This vision enshrines the identity of the one from whom you descended, the one whose light pours through your blood now. If you are ready, I will demonstrate it to you. However, it is critical that you persist, as the name will be revealed permanently. The crown will be placed in your possession, along with the obligation to rise. The name that was spoken in the confidential meeting is about to be provided to you. The name of the person whose heavenly legacy is coursing through your spiritual veins. This is considered sacred ground. Proceed with caution. Allow your consciousness to receive the information that heaven has been withholding for years. My beloved, you are descended from a lineage that does not yield to darkness. You are descended from the gatekeeper's lineage. From those who stood in the presence of titans and did not tremble. From those who whispered light into the darkness and carried the old flame. Your true spiritual ancestor is Aurelion, who was among the earliest. He wasn't a wealthy monarch. He was a monarch of light, crowned in silence and feared by shadows. He was referred to as the one who walked on fire in paradise. And you, darling, are the carrier of his light. This is why storms don't destroy you. This is the reason you have endured intense agony that should have rendered you incapacitated. Because fire is not afraid of fire. You are a kid of the same divine code. When the council in heaven met, they lit the Aurelian flame. The flame erupted as they read your name aloud. It was the indication, and it was the confirmation. You are the genuine descendant of Aurelion. But there is something even more magnificent. The moment the name was revealed, the entire chamber began to alter. Because it was not solely about your inheritance. It was about your mission. You were not only designed to get. You were supposed to reignite the flame and recapture what had been lost. Restore illumination to the areas where your ancestor formerly traveled. You will follow in the footsteps of Aurelian. However, your speech will cause the gates to open this time. The new key is in your hands. The following passage may cause you to weep, beloved, as a result of your confirmation. Do you remember your childhood? What peculiar visions did you have? Who is your invisible acquaintance? The deep conviction that you were unique. Aurelian was the one who provided you with guidance. Although you heard his voice, it was labeled as imagination. You felt his presence, but you were told to stop your deceit. Nonetheless, he never abandoned you. He has consistently waited at your side, anticipating your arrival. Today, he yields to you since it is your turn. The torch will be yours to carry. This is why nothing typical has ever occurred in your life. Why? Because your life was never meant to be ordinary. Jobs were terminated due to the desire of the divine to liberate you. Relationships broke while you were being saved from spiritual suffocation. Your friends betrayed you due to their inability to manage the increasing vibration within you. In actuality, your tears were meant to activate rather than to provide answers. This concludes the matter. The activation has been finalized. I will inform you of the subsequent events. You will feel a tugging sensation during the next 7 days. Not in your body, but in your soul. It will feel as if you are being drawn to something. However, you will be unaware of the specifics. Stick to it. It is not a state of perplexity. Alignment is the term. Your consciousness is recollecting the road. You're being guided back to a divine area. The location where your feet must be placed is physical. You will recognize it when it appears. The wind will fluctuate. You will feel warm in your chest and get a sense of déjà vu, although having never experienced it before, due to the fact that Aurelian was previously situated in that location. And now it's your time. When you arrive in that location, speak these words aloud. I return as a descendant, not as a seeking. I am now able to recall the flame that I carry. That single sentence will eliminate any residual obscurity. Within 48 hours of saying it, your next marvel will appear. It could take the form of an unexpected deposit, a phone call, a message, or a new person in your life who has a divine purpose. However, it will happen because heaven answers to the descendant's remembrance. My child, you aren't gaining power. You already are. It is only now that you are beginning to learn to tolerate it. The world educated you to distrust your own judgment, to express my regret at your overwhelming brightness. They told you to contract when you noticed your voice was growing more fiery. However, heaven taught a different lesson. The purpose of the energy you carry is not to cause harm to others. It is meant to illuminate the road. Currently, you are the pathway. Through your presence, others will discover their path. This is why it has been difficult. There is a reason why leaders are forged in fire rather than luxury. Yes, you have wounds, but they are considered sacrosanct, because the radiance within you became more profound with each period of bleeding. No, you have not broken. You grew into, as a result, desist from hiding yourself any longer. The meeting has concluded. The decision has been rendered. The crown has been transferred. You are the individual. Heaven is presently anticipating your response. The subsequent shift will be determined by your activities after receiving this message. It is critical that you not only verbally express your agreement, but also exhibit it with your actions. You are required to alter your gait at this time. Allow them to communicate. Allow them to have doubts. Allow people to describe you as odd, deluded, or histrionic. They did not attend the conference. You succeeded. The scroll was not read to them. You succeeded. They do not possess Aurelion's fire, however you do. Therefore, wear it. Wear it as a means of protection. Speak with passion. Select with heavenly precision. Assume that the heavens are directing your every movement as they are. My love, this is the beginning of your next existence. Archangel Michael will be with you at all times. This is your opportunity. The scroll has been read completely. The identity has been disclosed. The torch has been transferred. Heaven anticipates your debut foray into the light. Angels are currently stationed in your vicinity. They may be invisible, but they are present. We do not intend to shield you from the darkness, but rather to monitor your ascension. Due to the fact that you are not being rescued, your identity is being revealed. You are the voice, omen, response, and revelation. You prayed for miracles. However, the skies told us to dispatch them instead. As a result, you are present here. Not flawless, not polished, not always ensured. However, a choice had been reached. Called, crowned. You are not late. You are punctual. Everything is on the brink of a rapid acceleration. What was previously postponed will now happen. The previously sealed item will now be available. What was previously absent will now be revealed. You have now entered the hour of restoration. Furthermore, I would like to reveal knowledge that no other person will. The next 30 days will be very different from the last 30 years. Because you have become conscious of your identity. Consciousness transforms everything. You are the genuine descendant of Aurelion. You are not only fortunate, you are accountable for the blessings that are bestowed upon others. So you must prevent from quitting at this time. You must not question your vocation at this time. It is imperative that you refrain from relinquishing your authority into dread or confusion. You are aware of the appropriate course of action. You've always been aware. However, you now have the confidence to take action. Furthermore, I, Michael, promise you of this. Heaven will send confirmation within hours if you take one courageous step after reading this message, one soul-aligned move. You will not be isolated. You will not get left behind. You will be observed. I will once more hear the angels chanting your name. The gates will open, for obedience is continually rewarded in paradise. Now, allow me to utter the words of paradise that were spoken at the end of the conference. Only I, Michael, was dispatched to deliver these words to you. You have never heard these words before. Not in dreams, signals, or transient ideas. It is only now that you are ready. The scroll's final sentence stated that the constellations will realign when the descendant confirms. The floodgates will open, and the old blessing will fall on their home, never to be seen again. Your home will undergo changes. There will be a change in the atmosphere. Your sleep will be more profound. Your discernment will be sharpened. Your limbs will be directed. The influence of your words will be significant. This represents the restoration of spiritual royalty. Furthermore, you, my beloved, act as the vessel. It is not intended that you conceal this information. It is intended for you to walk, live, choose, determine, speak, and most importantly, believe in. There will be no further self-sabotage. The urge for more no longer causes remorse. Your beauty is no longer a source of guilt. You aren't very huge. You are sufficient to alter everything. Now, guard this fact. Do not share it to those who mock the sacred. Do not distribute it to those who are unwilling to observe. This was a direct scroll from above, a gift from paradise to you. Now that you have received it, it is time to prepare, as someone will reach out to you in 7 days. A significant individual, a spiritual connection, sent by alignment rather than coincidence. You will be notified once they do. A divine pause, a cold and a whisper will appear in your consciousness, signifying that this is part of the prophecy. Respond prudently. Speak with confidence. Avoid questioning your intuition. You are experiencing harvest season as a result of your perseverance in dealing with cyclones. You traveled through cyclones that threatened to submerge you. You are not participating in a prize draw by chance. You are entering a state of recompense as a result of divine law. What belongs to you cannot be taken away. It is hard to erase what has been written for you. What is sealed with your name cannot be opened by another person. It's been completed. I will now conclude with this final directive. Please avoid from postponing. Perform. Compose. Generate. Offer your prayers. Engage in discourse. Construct. Access the door. Transmit the message. Submit your application. Pack the suitcase. Begin the voyage. And what no longer honors you, say yes to what makes your soul soar, for all of paradise is now behind you. You're not lost. You've been located. You are not overlooked. You've been selected. You are not damaged. You're reborn. From now on, you will never walk alone. I, Archangel Michael, will accompany you, wings spread, sword drawn, and fire at the ready, as you have regained your regal status. It is now time for the blessings to take hold. Please recite this aloud with me. I am willing to accept my crown. I am aligned with my heavenly nature. I am the bearer of Aurelian's flame. I agree to the voyage ahead and gladly anticipate the inheritance of paradise. It's been completed. This item is secured. It has begun. I implore you, my beloved, to study the subsequent activities of heaven. You're still present. This alone tells the truth about you. You are prepared. You're no longer concerned about the light. You have survived the inferno. You remained attentive throughout the call, the scroll, and the confirmation. You are now wandering as the flame itself, the flame that others will follow. It is the flame that will drive darkness away, the flame that will provide clarity to souls that are bewildered. Heaven and I both perceive you. You have entered the realm of remembrance, and a second scroll has recently been released. Indeed, there was another. The committed reader who did not skip, who pressed in, who felt a shift in their bones and continued, was the only one who was meant to see it, as it was hidden below the initial scroll. The scroll has been unsealed. Also, my dearest, you may want to take a seat for the following sentence. Your name has been linked to a miracle so profound that even your angels wept while seeing it. It is not monetary. Marriage does not constitute it. It is not a residence. This is one cohesive entity that includes all of the following. A divine recompense. Everything the adversary attempted to extract from you. Everything that caused you to be delayed. Everything you were made to feel foolish for believing in. each opportunity you passed up due to nervousness. All those who have abandoned you are ruined. Heaven has declared that they would receive the entire sum back in a multiplied format. You are entering a stage of divine reversal in which sadness transforms into power, delays become guidance, and tears into testimony. The shift, compassion, and strength will be palpable when you wake up one morning in the coming weeks. You will ascend with a sense of lucidity. Smog will dissipate. The weight will be removed, and you will look in the mirror and say, "I don't even recognize this version of me." This is because it will be different from the prior version of yourself. It will be you who has soared. The version that Aurelian observed. Michael had been anticipating this version. Before you were born, God devised this version. You are entering a period of divine momentum. Money will not attract you because you seek it. Rather, it will draw you because you are in sync with it. You will not ask for love. Instead, you will become it. The reason for peace is not that life is perfect. Rather, it is because your spirit now has control over the tempest. This is not an exaggeration. This is the agenda for paradise. You're no longer a prospect. You are now a carrier of primordial light, a vessel, and a breaker of generational bondage. You serve as a mirror for others to rediscover their own identities, because it was never just about you. You are the initial of many. Your rising makes room for others. Your voice rouses the silence. Your healing is what holds the bridge together. Your crown serves as a reminder to others about their own. So bear it with trust, humility, and zeal. The global community is monitoring the situation. However, the most significant aspect is that heaven is prepared. Finally, I'd want to state the following. When making your next move, do it with purpose. Move with the grace of an individual whose name has been invoked in paradise. Move with the grace of a god. Behaving in a way that is consistent with someone who is confident in their natural brilliance reveals your genuine nature. You are a source of illumination. You are a legacy. You are the epitome of affection. Now you are liberated. My beloved, please proceed. Never forget that you are the true descendant. I, Archangel Michael, will always be by your side. You may be curious about the next steps. You have read the entire thing. The scroll has been given to you. You've endured the heat. Your name was heard in the heavenly halls. However, your human mind may still question whether anything will truly alter. As a result, I answer to your query with the following. Certainly, but only in its entirety. Your alignment has been modified merely by your consciousness. And when alignment shifts, everything follows. The objects you previously pursued will now start to pursue you. The doors that you once implored to be opened will now swing wide as you pass by. People who have ignored you will be drawn to you. They will be attracted to you without knowing why. Opportunities that you thought were lost forever will be uncovered and strengthened. You are no longer operating from your previous personality. You are actively involved in your spiritual purpose. You are no longer available to spread confusion. You are no longer susceptible to manipulation. Your faith is no longer fragile. You are firm, rooted, and unyielding, and your roots have now reached the first conflagration. Your steps, my beloved, are now an echo of prophecy. Even the earth recognizes your name. Therefore, take your time, but do not reverse course. You have passed through a hallowed space. There is no need to return. There is no necessity to provide an explanation. It is unnecessary to persuade persons with vision impairments. Permit them to observe. Allow them to think as you stroll in admiration. Because the rest of your life has become completely intertwined. It is connected to the most ancient aspect of you, the descendant's soul, the fire of Aurelion, the brilliance of heaven, and the voice of Archangel Michael, who urges you forward. You are the fulfillment of the prophecy. You are the return of which they spoke. You are the epitome of a murmur. Now, radiate without apology. Heaven is looking forward to your arrival after you've been waiting for so long. What happens when you finally acknowledge, "Yes, I recall"? Certainly, I agree. Indeed, I am. In addition, you are. You're prepared. You're in agreement. I love you passionately, eternally, and unconditionally. Furthermore, the most enjoyable feature is that you have yet to experience your first marvel. However, it is currently en route. When you opened this message, the courier angel was dispatched. The only remaining step is to receive, which you will do now that you are no longer wishing. You have knowledge. And my sweetheart changes everything. Certainly, my dear. Let us continue the magnificent flow with one last wave. A sacred vibration that lingers in your spirit long after the scroll has stopped. Heaven does not communicate one time, rather it communicates in strata. And you, my dear, were intended to receive the surplus. This is more than just an extension. I concur.